I'm Heather Brammeier. I teach at Bradley University in Peoria, Illinois. I'm a professor of art and painting. I'm also an installation artist, and I teach color, and I'm very interested in color theory and perception. So Lose the Feeling is the exhibition that I've installed at the McLean County Art Center. And the exhibition is based on the perception of emotion. So much of my installation work deals with perception, and I like to play with the people's visual perception of spaces and planes and flatness and dimension. So I knew, especially because of the warm wooden floor here in the Art Center, I knew that I wanted to create my own wooden floor that would create a visual play between the sculptural work and the actual ground surface. I am a painter, and I started making installation art as a way of creating paintings and drawings in space. So when I put together installations, I definitely am thinking about drawing and painting and the way that I would compose in a two-dimensional space, but I get to work with actual objects and real spaces. So you'll notice when you look at the exhibition that there are a lot of drawing and design elements. And the dimensional qualities are purposefully flat and then made dimensional with the idea that when they're photographed, they will become flat again. Initially, what people will encounter is a play with visual perception where they have to figure out a little bit what's going on with the object in relation to the space. It's not an illusion of any sort, but it's just a way to make people think more about the way that they see. The reason for that is to create an analogy with our perception of emotion. So the title, Lose the Feeling, refers to the way that we are encouraged to hide emotions. So even in art, emotion can be a really dirty word. Because it's not something that you want too much of. It's something that needs to be limited. So lose the feeling is referring to how when you try to suppress something, often it becomes almost perpetuated. So if you think about someone telling you to quit feeling some way, that might make you feel that even more intensely. It's the power of suggestion, just like if someone told you to think about the color red, or not to think about the color red, probably the only thing you could think of was the color red. So that resistance has an effect on our emotional regulation. And Lose the Feeling is about that attempt to regulate emotion, but the way that we're not able to eliminate emotion. So there are two sides to this installation. The surface of a floor, usually we only see the flat, polished surface. And you do see that initially with Lose the Feeling. But because the floor is tilted upwards, you also can see what's beneath. And that's an opportunity that we don't always have. Certainly with the floor, but in particular with people's emotions and how they feel, we usually have to guess at what's inside and what's underneath, and we only see one part of it. So there's an easy analogy there, and people when they come into the space, they are encouraged to go around to the back of the work and take a look at the underside. And the underside is much more raw. It's splintery, it's dirty, yet it has a certain appeal to it. So an artist friend of mine said that really underneath the installation is what activates the imagination. And I can see that happening when people do move around and start to look underneath. There's a pull, a desire to walk underneath the installation. And as the artist, I've been under there a lot, but there's also a certain threat because the piece is just on stilts. It has the appearance of being something that might fall at any moment. So while it certainly won't, it is created to give that impression that it's quite fragile. It could fall over. I have visited many of the exhibitions at the McLean County Arts Center, and I'm always impressed with the quality of the artwork. I know also that the Art Center has a wonderful audience, a very broad range of audience that comes to see the shows. I love the space here. It's a wonderful historic building with a beautiful warm wooden floor. And so it's just a wonderful space for a solo exhibition and an installation in particular.